Hi friends, welcome back to Hearts Wide Open, where we tune in, listen to Spirit, and keep our hearts wide open. I just took a little nap. Actually, I was super tired, and I thought, once when you're in that state when you just woke up after resting, I might be a little bit more apt to receive. I love doing this time of day with the sunset. It's a beautiful day here on the coast. So I am going to see what the mermaid want to show us and teach us maybe. Okay, so we are here to receive what is hidden, what the collective needs to know. The beautiful merman. This is Oracle of the Mermaids. It's actually all mermaids. There's no merman. I don't know if you merman. Oh, all right. Let's do this a little bit differently. These cards are a little bigger. They're hard for me to shuffle. Sparty's taking a nap too. Okay, so I'm hearing 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, there's 13 cards. Okay, let me pick this one. Let's start it off with guide. Okay, so guide. We all have guides, spirit, ancestors, our higher self that want to talk to us. A gentle mentor, a trustworthy ally. This is what happens when just waking up. So this I'm receiving that there is somebody here that is trying to be reached through a guide. That's very interesting because I was talking to a friend, a very close friend. We've never met in person, but we speak on the phone a lot, and we're really in alignment and tune with each other. And every time I talk to her, I seem to get more visions. And this happens a lot with other people that I'm feeling are like soul family. It's like we're activating each other. And I have this vision, and she said, that's my guide, which was really cool. So again, guide is coming up. And there's a whisper. I did a recent reading on that where they whisper softly. See that she's listening. It's just a soft whisper, and we have to be open to receive. 2 more cards just popped out. Dreams. Sometimes we receive in our dreams, right? And there's those dreams that you have sometimes, at least for me, I know it's more than a dream. Vivid dreaming, dream messages, dream teaching. I often, when I have the dreams I remember and they're really cool, I know there's a message. I do a lot of dream analysis. And you can learn so much. And you forget if you don't either journal. For me, I reiterate the dream either to somebody, or I do an audio, record it for myself. I've even checked with ChatGPT, my AI, that I occasionally use. It's great for dream interpretation. So somebody's trying to reach you in your dreams. Sorry, I didn't mean to slam that. Somebody's trying to reach you from your dreams. Yeah, this is a 23, which reduces to a 5. 5s are about transformation. And she seems very closed off, like her arms are closed off in this. A little bit pensive. And it's jellyfish that are floating around her. I've never seen this card. I've had this deck for like 5 years. I've seen it, but I never pick it. And I'm looking at that as like antennas almost, like just little, barely subtle touches. So within the dreams, there are subtle touches and messages, and I slipped that right by my aquamarine. I'm drawn to like show these little crystals I have. This is for the throat chakra too. Beautiful, one of my favorite stones. Okay, the other card that came out is, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Conchomancy. Conchomancy. And it's like, I believe, scrying or learning through shells, the meaning of different shells. Yeah, seashell divination, the wisdom of shells. So if you're near the beach or you've gathered some shells, there could be some meaning in there. I'm actually seeing, like, you know, the Fibonacci sequence, the spiral in my mind's eye. They're showing me a clock now, as far as like time, the spiral of life, like we're always climbing and ascending. Also with the shell, like I'm seeing a cave, like we could hide in our shell. I'm a Cancer rising. Sometimes we feel like we need to put a protective shell on. It has nothing to do with that card, but since I saw the gal in the cave taking shelter, there's nothing wrong with that. There's times it's needed, and I just am going with what I'm seeing and feeling with that. So if you're going through something and you need some time and you go within your own personal cave, oh, I know why I saw that, because in meditation often I go into an underground cave when I go within sometimes. And yeah, so it's a great way to connect with source, connect with your higher self and your guides, is through meditation. I picked this last night, energy field adjustment. It reminds me of the painting I was doing with her red hair and the glowing orb. Energy field adjustment, aura cleansing and health. I was just going to state, if you're in meditation and you're receiving, it's not always necessary, but not a bad idea to, some people might say this is always necessary, to protect yourself, cleanse your field, because you're more open to receiving from the spectrum of influences. Beneficial, highly beneficial, and sometimes people may say other forces. I like to try to know that I am divinely protected, and I'm not fearful of that. I used to be, because they cannot hurt me in that form in meditation. And it almost implies, by doing the protection, it's implying that you need it because of the fear of the other forces. And I just try not to focus on that. But if it's needed, it's needed. Okay, so I feel like there's a message that I can possibly bring through from your guide at this time, where we could all be messengers for each other. I'm seeing lace, actually. I think it's somebody's grandmother, because I'm seeing like a lace dress and there's those lace covered buttons. You know, back in the day, the buttons, and they had like a loop that you would pull to button it up. And I don't know why I'm seeing that in the front, just normally would be in the back, but this dress has these buttons up the front. It's almost like a high collared, similar to a turtleneck lace dress, and it's ivory. It's not bright white. It's like a creamy ivory, like my candle here. This has the needle in it for doing my telekinesis practice. That's fun. Okay, what would be the message from this grandmother? Okay, I'm getting the mermaids. Put these down. Thank you so much for the message so far, but I am going to shift to the witching hour. This grandmother was very intuitive, very spiritual, but kept it quite hidden. And she worked with a lot of fire and candles, which is probably why I picked up the candle. Okay, so she might be trying to reach out to you. If this rings a bell, if you've seen pictures or you had a grandmother with a lace dress, or I just saw a lace tablecloth. My grandmother, I have her cream colored lace tablecloth like that. Okay, so this is the Witching Hour Oracle, and let's see what spirit, let's see what this ancestor wants to bring through for us, if we could pull this through. All right. Oh, to the grave. So somebody's got some secrets. Yeah, secrets kept. There's some secrets within the family. Interesting. I'm going to need more information on this. You know, our paths, ancestrally, we carry. I did some work on this inner work earlier today. We carry through our DNA some programs and some wounds of the past. If you think about your grandmother, let's say your maternal side, your maternal grandmother. I saw this once where, if your mother, as she was in the womb, had her eggs, like it's that close. That's 2 generations down. It's part of, you know what I'm trying to say? You were in your grandmother's womb, basically. Okay. Confusion. Somebody's confused. She wants to come to you and give you a message about this, it seems. I'm feeling a little anxious. When you calm your mind, the answer will emerge. I think that's the main part of the message. When you calm your mind, the answer will emerge. Calming your mind, getting in your quiet space so that you can receive the messages from your ancestor, from your guide. This is the underlying energy here from the mermaids. With your meditation, your dreams, through scrying. So this is the scrying through the shells, but it's not just for shells. After I picked this card and when I grabbed the candle, I was really feeling the element of fire. So what I'm thinking is, this is what this grandmother did. She did some fire scrying, and I've done this a lot too, where you light a candle or you light sage or Palo Santo, whatever your herb is. There's a different type of sage. I like the white sage. And you look in the smoke. Okay, now I'm curious. I'm looking at this and the way the sun is. You scry, and what I do is I will record it and then slow it down. And you can see images. You can see, because spirit will work through the elements. I do it in water, because water is conscious. Okay, let's see if we can see that? So let's see if we can receive something through the fire. I like it over here. Let's see. And you can move it however you're intuitively called and guided. So maybe there's a message and you can just feel into it. Yeah, I definitely see a woman reaching out. Yeah, and I think this is why this image looked like this. She wants to give you a hug. And it's okay. There was family secrets. Nothing was... we don't need to carry it forward. We need to let it go. All right, so I'm going to let this just burn right here. See if you can see that still. There we go. Keep it over here. Okay, well that's interesting. Okay, so what are we confused about? I'll go back to the mermaids. That was my first intention. I think that needed to come out. Whoa. Ooh. Yamaya. Freedom and power. You need to be free from overthinking about the past. I'm going to read this because I think there's something in here. I don't know if I'll read the whole thing. I'll see what jumps out at me. Here we go. We wish to share with you the knowledge of the old ones. The Orisha, Yamaya, is often depicted as a mermaid, a vast primordial mermaid with the star shining from her head, a mermaid of power who gives birth to the world. At other times, she dances alone upon the waves, bringing the whole world to life as she dances. The ocean changes. The 7 layers of her skirt symbolize the 7 seas with blues, greens, and grays of storms. She was a river Orisha, but was associated with the ocean after the people who worked with her, the Yoruba of modern-day Nigeria, were stolen, taken by sea to distant lands, and enslaved. Okay, so that word's really jumping out at me. This cruel history is how the worship of Yamaya became so widespread. Today she's revered in Haiti, Brazil, Cuba, and the southwestern United States. In her more recent incarnations as a Brazilian candomblé, she is associated with Mary, Mother of Jesus. In Mexico, she can appear with La Serena. She is sometimes called Mama Wata. In all of humanity, the oceanic beings and the saints are said to have been born from her womb. Wow. Her symbols include cowrie shells. So we're talking about the womb, the grandmother's womb, and this comes up. And then they're talking about the shells. They're used for divination and regarded as a sign of fertility and abundance. She's connected with sea winds, the North Star, storms, freedom, and change. Okay, so the divination is exploring ancient history. Yeah. Feeling drawn to underwater or sea peoples archaeology, exploring ancient history, understanding the power of water, respecting feminine divinity, and personal freedom. Okay, so this card can also show someone is sorry for past injustices and is willing to be part of the solution, creating respect and love now and in the future. Okay, so whatever this secret is, somebody's willing to make amends. It seems like that's part of the message so that you can move on and not bury the secret, but let it rise up and communicate where it's needed to heal this wound. It's like a generational curse, kind of. It's something that's been carried over. And I just heard it stops with you. It stops with you. Okay, sometimes I'm jumping around with the cards. I'm just going with what I feel called to pull from. This is Echoes of the Soul. And since it's an echo from carrying over from past, I don't know if it's something that happened in the past, like past generations, and you carried it over, or if it actually something that happened with you. It's still carried from the programming and the unhealed parts, the shadow self of your family. Okay, so the card that came out is Shared Fire. Connection doesn't always speak. Sometimes it just burns in the same direction. But I was just doing the fire scrying. And this is confirmation that this could bring you a message. I'm hoping you saw something within this. You could light a candle, but often using sage or something else you like to burn. I really do love Palo Santo. I like to think sage cleanses the space and Palo Santo helps bring in spirit, helps bring in this communication, because it's by using the elements, we can receive different ways of receiving this divination. There's cards, there's whichever you were drawn to, But I just want to point out the Yamaya card also talks about divination with the water and using the shells. And I have done that where you take a pot of water or a bowl of water. You could either just look into it, use your hands, send your energy through it. Water is conscious and holds memory. And you can see things, but the really fun way that I've done it is I have a metal pot, like a big stock pot, and you just fill it with this much water. You don't have to boil it or anything. And if you have it under the stove with the light shining down, I take a wooden spoon and I ask a question, or just, I've even done it where I've just said like an item. I remember I did a frog, I did a mermaid actually, and I spin the water, and you could move it the way, just like with the scrying, the way that you want to intuitively or guided to move it. And as soon as you stop, you snap a picture, and the water will show you. The water will show you what you need to see or what you ask for. It's incredible, this divination. So there's several ways I just mentioned, whatever you feel called to, the most, that you're most drawn to. Whether it's sitting on earth, you know, there's all the elements. In meditation, using scrying with fire, water, often sitting in water in the bathtub, I'll receive more messages, more divination from spirit and from guides that way as well. Automatic writing is great too. So I'm looking at this here. This is a golden obsidian knife. It's got the heart at the top, and you can lovingly use anything, but this is also really good for protection. And if something, we talked about that earlier, I don't always use protection, but if you feel the need before you do any of this, you can, you know, cut. Well, this, I was going to say you could use this for cutting cords, but it's also for protection. So there's so many different tools, and I'm trying not to come across as too witchy, but it's just, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. And maybe it's from the grandmother, maybe it's just my own personal thing here. Let's get a final message. Okay, we're using a lot of cards here. I'm gonna pull from the Sacred Rebel deck. I hope this is helpful. I really enjoy doing this. I've just done it so much for personal use that, you know, when friends will ask me for readings, and if it calls to you, if it helps, I'm super honored and just really grateful because, oh, there's something else I want to state. I mean, we're all connected, right? Energetically, but I don't usually, like when I sit down to do this, I don't want to just tune in and pull in somebody's information and invade their energy without permission. So I usually, like, my intent is to only pull from people, beings, energies that are willing and wanting to receive. So never try to make it fit. This is purely for the highest good of all. It really is. It's for the highest good of all, and for healing, for our expansion, for, again, that spiral, that ascension that we're all going through. So is there a final message that the collective needs? And it might be specific, you know, with this certain grandmother. It might be for several people. It could be just what's coming through. One final message. I saw an apple, red apple, knowledge. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I always think of Snow White with the apple too. These are like little, nothing's coming out of this deck here. All right, I'm saying just cut it. Conscious connections. Yeah. Conscious connections. There you are. Connecting to spirit, your ancestors, your guides. Do it with the highest conscious, you know, with the purest intent to raise the consciousness, to elevate, and to me it's all about not getting stuck in a healing mode, but seeing and receiving messages, because the goal is to purify and let go of anything that's still within our programming, our energetic body, our entire field that we're holding on to, or that is unseen, you know, in the unconscious, subconscious shadow. So I'm really guided to share this. I don't know. I keep seeing, this is also one of my gifts. Look at this little spoon for Christmas from my daughter. And since we're talking about all the divination and the scrying, sometimes with my coffee in the morning and I froth, you know, my foam, I'll stir it, or just the way it pours in there, I'll do scrying and I'll see things. But this is, you know, I got my pinky out. This is if you're reading tea leaves. So I know there's some people think there's like a little bit of a stigma against some of this, or you know, their beliefs have limited them and purposely created fear around this kind of stuff so that you don't use it. You know, everybody's free. If you're on this channel, you're open to it. But I think we've covered a lot of that, and that is definitely the message. So I wish you the best to receive and move on from there. I'm just going to wrap it up. All right. Thanks so much. This was fun.